The content presented on Sidebar Radio is intended for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Nothing heard on this program should be construed as legal advice. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any agency or firm. Listening to this program does not create an attorney-client relationship. Always consult with a qualified attorney regarding your specific legal situation.
Well, good morning. Welcome into Sidebar Radio. JR in studio with you. Rhonda Bruner in studio with you, our legal expert. Rhonda, did you have a good week?
I sure did.
So busy. Hey, it's been wet the last 24 hours.
It has.
We got plenty of rain. That's for sure. We'll settle in. Brand new episode of Sidebar Radio coming up. I know everyone is talking about resolutions, gym memberships, diets, reading more books, whatever it may be. We want to talk about the one resolution that actually protects your family, your money, and your legacy. We're talking estate planning today, and we'll be back with more Sidebar Radio right after this. All right, well, welcome back into Sidebar Radio. JR in studio with you. Rhonda Bruner, our legal expert, in studio with us as well on a Saturday morning. Rhonda, busy week. No doubt. We're talking estate planning. That's always, I don't think a lot of folks like to think about it, but it's very important that they do.
Oh, absolutely. It's the one thing that people need to do, but they don't like to talk about it because they think it's depressing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get into the questions, Rhonda. There's this myth, the I'm not rich myth. So what do folks need to know estate planning? How many zeros are in the bank account? Is it about control for living trust or wills, whatever it may be?
Well, it's not really based upon how many zeros you have in your bank account. It's more or less about being able to be in control of the things that you have and how you want those things to pass to your heirs or to other individuals.
So what would be the biggest, we'll go into this one, the magic piece of paper, the will versus the trust. You probably heard this before, somebody writing their will on, let's just say, a napkin or a paper plate. I'm sure it's been done, but does that hold any water, any weight on that will?
Well, that would be a self-proving will in a particular regard. It's not necessarily a legitimate document as pursuant to the statutes.
Right.
However, I've seen that happen. I've seen people with just a piece of paper that says, I'm a Grandma Susie and I'm of sound mind and of age. And then they go through and they list what they want their children to have or don't have.
Yeah.
However, that's something that winds up in probate court under an administration, not as an estate, because it's not a real will.
So let me ask you on that side. So let's say they had a will at first that was a legal documented paper, but they also had someone comes in and says, hey, I've got this napkin they wrote on too. Which one wins out?
Well, it kind of can depend.
Yeah.
Usually the legitimate document is the thing that's going to control in court, and then it would be upon the parties involved who are named on the napkin to contest that will to say, well, Granny or Grandpa or Mama or Daddy changed their mind, and this is what they said that they would.
Right.
And then they would go before a court where a judge would hear evidence and take testimony as to what those particular wishes really are. That's kind of rare,
right?
But it's not rare for families to fight over a will.
Right. So if we have a will, does that make us skip the line there for probate or for the courthouse, or
no? We
still have to go through?
Sometimes you still have to go through, and a lot of that depends upon whether or not an estate reaches a minimum threshold as required by law, which means that there would be particular assets involved, such as a home or car or investments, anything like a business maybe. However, if an individual who has a will, if they have their bank account and their investments and their life insurance already set with their beneficiaries, then that passes outside of an estate. So none of that has to go to probate court.
How many people are normally that organized with all this stuff? Is it a higher percentage than we think?
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. People try to they try to take advantage of reasonable thinking.
Yeah.
So sometimes people have bank accounts and they don't have any beneficiaries named, or that a parent or parents may put a child on a bank account to help them pay their bills. And there's a caveat with that.
Okay.
So, for instance, if your parents put you on their bank account and at the bank, you're not just listed as a user, but it looks like you're an owner of the account, and you have siblings, when they pass, whatever's in that bank account becomes yours.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So it's important to sit down and think about things like that to make sure that your life insurance policies, if you have those, have the beneficiaries designated appropriately. So that way you don't have to go to probate court to get the proceeds. And that your bank account is set up to where paid on death, that's language that some banks use now. It'll have your name and then it'll say paid on death, and it'll have somebody else's name. That person won't have to go to probate court. They can just take a death certificate to the bank.
Here it is. And
here it is.
Yeah.
So-and-so died and I'm entitled to get this. It doesn't even have to be a family member that you have to name for that. You can name anybody you want.
Wow. So if you've got a life insurance policy, and let's just say, is that something you could bypass your family for and just say it's going to the funeral home? Can you leave it there for them to pay for like your funeral, so where things are handled properly?
You can leave it pretty much any way you want. I would not recommend that.
Yeah.
Simply because there is a caveat that the funeral home might go out of business. They might sell.
Yeah, true.
And then whoever takes that business over would have to figure out how to get it. So It doesn't make sense to do that.
Gotcha.
Now, you can leave it to individuals, or you can leave it to your estate. If you leave it to your estate, guess what? You get to go to probate court to get it. But most people leave it to, their children or their spouse, and then they can take that life insurance policy to the funeral home.
And then pay.
And they will help you process it to where the funeral expenses come out of the life insurance policy, and then the insurance company will remit whatever's left over to the beneficiaries.
It's all important stuff, because I would assume it's not the topic of conversation every time you get together, but it is important to have this kind of stuff kind of inked, dotted, crossed to wherever you need before something does happen, because we don't know when it's going to happen, but we can guarantee it's going to happen. We just don't know when. That's
absolutely true.
This is probably not a fun one for a lot of folks, so we'll do the ex-spouse trap. So let's say we'll use the guy's name, Steve, gets a divorce. He's updated his will. He leaves everything to his new wife, but he forgot to update his 401k or a life insurance policy, and it's still the ex-wife from 10 years ago. Steve's now passed away. Who gets that 401k or life insurance policy?
Typically, whoever is listed as the beneficiary on each of those would be the individual or individuals who receive that, unless Steve was smart enough at least to get something in writing in his divorce settlement or final judgment that says something opposite. But still, then you're going to have a little bit of litigation, because if ex-wife knows that she's still on the policy, but the divorce decree says that she's supposed to forfeit that, then you're probably going to have a civil fight and a probate fight all in one.
Oh, you're still getting argued about. Your Steve is gone, and he's still getting argued about.
Steve, what are we going to do with him?
Way to go, Steve. Good job. All right, we'll take a quick break right here on Sidebar Radio. We'll close out today's show coming back up. But, Rhonda, what are we going to be talking about?
We'll be talking about what kind of taxation issues people could be looking at. Should they inherit anything under a will?
Well, that question will be answered. More Sidebar Radio coming up. All right, welcome back in. Sidebar Radio, JR in studio with you, law expert in studio with us as well, Rhonda Bruner. Rhonda, we got a big question to close out today's show.
Yes, we do. What do we do about those taxes on properties or businesses or investments that you might inherit?
Dreadful. dreadful.
It is. Nobody likes the tax man.
What do we do? What happens if that, son, daughter, whatever it may be, is maybe they hadn't lived at home, maybe they don't even live in the state anymore, and they just kind of get hit with this all of a sudden?
Well, first of all, you need to have a good tax person and a good financial advisor. In the event that you were to inherit a piece of property, and you and whoever else might be there with you, it might just be you.
Yeah.
It might be you and a sibling. You decide to sell that property. You're probably going to be looking at some kind of a taxation issue, depending upon, do you inherit it at the value that your parents paid for it?
Right.
Or do you inherit it at present market value? And that's where you need to sit down with a financial advisor and a tax professional to talk about that. Because in one regard, let's say you inherited 100 acres of land and your parents paid $100,000 for it.
Right.
And now, 25 or 30 or 40 years later, it's worth $1 million. If you inherited at that $100,000 and you decide to sell it, guess what? You're going to have capital gains tax between $100,000 and $1 million.
Yeah.
But if you inherit it at present market value and you go to sell it, you're still probably going to incur some tax issue.
Yeah.
But it's probably not going to be as hefty
as $900,000.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But again, that's where you would want to talk with a financial advisor or tax planner, tax professional, to discuss those options. Same thing with insurance. If you're a beneficiary on insurance, in some regards, you may not have to pay tax on what you inherit through that insurance policy. But there are other policies out there where if you inherit that, you're probably going to be paying some tax on it.
Right. Well, you're listening to Sidebar Radio. JR in studio with you, legal expert Rhonda Bruner. I know your head may be spinning. That's okay. The most important thing is that you just start with a conversation with your family and with that legal expert, with that tax attorney as well, whatever it may be, to get things started if you hadn't got it started in 2026.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing to remember. Wills are not a one-size-fits-all document. Sit down with a legal professional, financial advisor, and plan out what your future is going to be, because instead of doing a will, you may want to have a trust set up. And that's something we can talk about down the road.
Don't leave your family. Scavenger hunts are fun, but not this type of scavenger hunt. That's not fun.
Correct. They're not.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time, but don't go anywhere. Coming up next, it's our dumb criminal. Listen, some of us may get a little grumpy when a restaurant's out of our favorite food, but one Brooklyn man, he took hangry to a criminal level. Find out why a shortage of fried chicken breast led to a baseball bat, a destroyed ATM, and a trip to jail for a 23-year-old. More Sidebar Radio right after this.
Dum, 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 dum. It was really dumb, 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 dumb. It was really dumb.
All right, welcome back in Sidebar Radio. We're going to close out today. Dumb criminal, because it was dumb. You know, there's a lot of them out there, that's for sure.
Dumb, 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 dumb. It was really dumb.
Rhonda, where are we going today?
Dumb, dumb. It was really dumb.
With our dumb criminal.
I mean, really
Again, we have plenty of these to go. We could do an entire year's worth of dumb criminals. Where are we going today?
We take you to Brooklyn, New York. We've all been there. It's 2:30 a.m. on Sunday, and the munchies hit hard.
Right.
You know, nothing good happens after 2 a.m.
Nothing at all.
So 23-year-old David Murray walks into Crown Fried Chicken on Tompkins Avenue. He wants chicken breast, just the breast. But the server says, "Sorry, we're out." Sounds like McDonald's when the ice cream machine
Yeah, no ice cream.
breaks. Well, Murray doesn't just order a thigh. He starts throwing garbage from the bin at the cashier. And then he storms out. He comes back with a baseball bat and destroys the store's ATM.
Sounds logical over chicken. Right.
Over chicken, yeah. He threatened the cashier. The cop showed up, and now he's charged with criminal weapons possession and menacing. Next time, David, just order the wings, man.
Yeah, just get those. I've seen people get mad I've seen them get mad at that restaurant we were just talking about when the ice cream is broken.
Oh, absolutely. I hate it when I drive up and they say,
Yeah.
we're sorry, we're out of ice cream. And I'm like,
I
I'm
need-
so sad.
I need to be the person that fixes that machine. That's what we need.
Absolutely.
Welcome. Well, thanks for joining us right here on Sidebar Radio. We'll see you next Saturday, Rhonda. It's been fun.
It's been fun. We'll see you next week.